around the country. So you can see, doing those injections will be a lot less expensive than doing the surgery, when you see. Do you see that? Okay. So the results, you just saw some of the results. We've been doing, in our clinic, we've done probably 1,000 of these injections for different problems. Knees, hips, backs, necks, shoulders, shoulder replacement, calf heel spurs. And we have 95% or more of those patients say it was the best thing they've ever done for their arthritis. 95% or more of those patients say it's the best thing they've ever done for their arthritis. And there's been no side effects. So what do they have in a hospital that has 95% of the patients saying it's the best thing they've ever done and there's no side effects? If you went to the hospital and said, give me the thing that has 95% success rate and no side effects, what are they going to do? They're going to go, here you go. Maybe. Depends where they got the water. Right? How many of you are like, did I catch your interest? Raise your hand if I caught your interest. Yeah. So, here's the bad part. Insurance is based on a profitability ratio. You know insurance companies need to make profit, right? How much profit is an insurance company allowed to make, according to Obamacare? 15%. 15%, that's right. So do you think they'd rather have 15% of 1,000 or 15% of a million? 15% of a billion. So they'd rather you get the surgery than get the stem cells. Do you understand that? It's all about profit margins. It's not about you. These are not covered by anybody. This is cash. So this is cash. If you decide to do this, it's on you. We back up. Look at the out-of-pocket. See that? We go back again. Look at the out-of-pocket. You might go, I have great insurance. It's covered 100%. Okay, good luck with that. You know, if you said, I guarantee you I'll 100% cover a gunshot wound in your head, can I shoot you in the head? I'd say no. Right? I'm not going to just do that just because it's covered. I want the end result. The end result is 95% say it's the best thing they ever did, no rejection. Do you understand that? So, very few people can walk in and go, boom, here's $11,000. So what we do is we try to put financing in there, financing in place. We do have financial options. But I just want to let you know, I don't want to mislead anybody in this audience. If you come into our practice, I don't want you going, oh, I thought it was covered by insurance. Let me repeat it. It is not covered by any insurance. So let me ask you, most Americans have insurance. What is the #1 reason for personal bankruptcy? Unpaid medical bills, because they'd rather you spend $1 million than $1,000. Do you understand that? And the copayment on $1 million is a lot more for you than it is on 1,000. Do you understand that? So, this is what we charge per cc. It depends on what you're getting done as to how many cc's you need, but most joints, not all, need 1. And it's a one and done. It's not a follow-up. Most people, 1 injection, that's all they need. Do you understand that? Okay. And did I lose anybody? Everybody with me? You still interested? Okay, good. So, your first visit to our office, we will take you in, do an orthopedic exam. If we have to take an x-ray, we'll take an x-ray of the area of your concern. We'll talk to you about it. We'll have a nurse practitioner look at it, and we'll determine, are you a candidate for this or not? Now, that's a lot of work, and that's normally worth $250. Okay? But because you came to this talk, and we know this works, and we're trying to change healthcare, we're prepared to offer you that visit for $49 for everything I just said. You'd be able to come in, find out exactly if we can help you or not, $49. Do you understand that? And if you decide to do that, we'll apply whatever you pay towards that. Now, we set times aside in our office because I know a lot of you have conditions that can be helped, and you're going to want to come in. So for the next 3 days, we have a lot of open spaces. So if you book in the next 3 days, it's $39. Do you understand that? So let me just ask you, be honest with me. How many of you are interested to sign up for that? Hold your hand up. Let me see him. Let me see him up. Let me see him up. Perfect. Good. My staff will now circulate around and get you scheduled, and I'll stand here and answer questions as long as I have to until you get all the information you need. Deal? Mm-hmm. Good. What questions do you have?
What if we do you do therapy after? Is
We can, and that usually, most insurances cover that. We do have rehab in our office. We can do therapy. We'll talk to you about that. But if you're trying to find out if we can save a joint, let's focus on that first. But yes, and insurance usually does cover that. Our policy on insurance is this. If you ever do any service in our office, you will find out, we don't do the hospital trick. You know what the hospital trick is, right? When you find out how much you're going to have to pay for that surgery.
Long after you had the surgery.
How much after?
3 months.
3 months after. That's exactly right. Everybody says the same thing. That's exactly right. 3 months after your surgery, you get a bill. Oh, this wasn't covered. And that's where they get hit with the medical bills that put them into bankruptcy. So our policy is, before you do anything, we tell you before you agree to it, this is what you're going to have to pay. And these are the ways you can pay for it. So that's how we do that. So if you have a co-payment, if you have coverage for rehab, we'll tell you that. If you don't, we'll tell you that too. You will not get any surprise bills coming into our office. That is our promise to you. You had a question right next to him. I answered it. Question over here? Yes, sir.
What if I had 3 things I wanted to get treated?
Well, if you have 3 things, then we'll talk to you about that. Sometimes the 3 things could be, I have a back problem, I have a hip problem, I have a knee problem, I have an ankle problem. That's 4, right? And really it's all coming from a knee problem, and it might actually be this knee. So we'll look at it.
Do you do a discount for multiple CCs?
If we have to, depending on how much you get, we can talk to you about that. Yes, ma'am.
How many times can I get it done? Or will I need
Well,
to-
here's what typically happens. Usually, most people have to get it, like say, I had it for my shoulder, you get it injected once and then you're done, right? My wife, once in each knee, that was years ago, she's still great. But then you start going, well, you know, this knee kind of hurts a little, it's not as bad, but why am I living with that? What am I gonna do, wait until it gets real bad? So a lot of times people come back after they see that it works, which could be months later, and say, I'm doing more. And then we started doing some things, you know, there's some of our clients around the country are starting to do cosmetic things, which is blowing our mind. And you want to talk about repeat business? I mean, well, I got rid of these wrinkles, so what about these wrinkles? And what about this? And what about, so.
Where do we learn about that?
That's another seminar.
What about hair?
When you come in the office, we'll talk to you about that. Deal?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I heard that if you have cancer or have had cancer, you shouldn't do stem cells.
Well, that's interesting. There's a lot of false data out there, and right now they're not sure what to say about that. So I can tell you this. We ask people if they have active cancer right now, and if they do, we hold off. But now we're finding out that that approach might be wrong. We don't know. We're going to stick to that right now. But I will tell you this. Yesterday, I sat with a patient who came in because she said, my brother has cancer, and he's going to the University of Michigan, and they got approved from the government to fund his stem cell treatment for his cancer. True story. So that may change. But right now, if you have active cancer, we're going to say, what we don't want to do is if you're going to get chemotherapy, we don't want to put stem cells in as you're getting chemotherapy because the chemotherapy will kill them. And we want you to get the best bang for your buck. So if you have active cancer, when the chemotherapy is over, then we'll talk to you about doing stem cells. Fair enough? Good. Yes?
So this is not laying into the, after your presentation, you give them a flat price?
I have no idea what you're talking about, ma'am. I'm here doing a lecture in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Yes?
Can I use my health saving account?
We can check that out. We can check that out. Bring that information with you. And I don't know about insurance and I don't know about that stuff. I live in Oregon. So bring it in when you come in and they'll help you with that. Good question. A lot of people do stuff like that though. Yes?
If I have arthritis in my knees and I'm like 80 pounds overweight, can I do it? Will it work?
Well, you know, that's a good question. What should you do?
Lose weight.
Yeah, that's true. But your knees still need to be repaired, and sometimes they prevent you from losing the weight, right? So we had a patient yesterday that we sat with who he couldn't walk because of the problems with the degeneration in his feet. So obviously, it's hard to say a guy will plug it up and start exercising, right? Because the guy's like in a lot of pain and he's losing his balance. So if our stem cell program could rejuvenate your knees, we'll make a deal with you. If we get you feeling better, will you do a rehab program and you lose some weight? Deal. Yes.
What if it didn't work? What do you guys, do you have follow-up or anything for that?
Well, what we'll do is we have other tools in the shed. Very rarely do we ever come across that, but once in a while there's a small percentage of people it doesn't work on. So we may actually do another type of regenerative medicine, like a PRP or something like that. We'll do that, and we'll do that at no charge. If that doesn't work, we know it's not us, we know it's you. Yes?
How long does it last?
Well, they don't know because, you know, with my wife, 3 years, she's like, there's nowhere in sight of it going south. It's actually getting better. She's exercising more and a lot better shape. So We don't know. We just know that, you know, if you had to get a repeat treatment in 10 years, would that be a good thing?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yes.
So I have a completely torn ACL and the degeneration. Should I have the ACL repaired first? Or?
I absolutely have no idea. When you come in, are you going to come in?
Yes.
Okay. Ask the nurse practitioner who's going to work on you that question, and she'll give you her opinion. Because I don't do the injection. I'm the band. I'm the speaker. I'm up here on stage. Yes. Anyone? Yes, sir.
I did stem cells before, and my insurance covered it, and it didn't work.
Your insurance covered and it didn't work? Well, that kind of adds together, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So who knows what you did? But I know insurance doesn't cover it. I can tell you, if we bill this to Medicare, we'd have investigators in our office going, what are you billing this to Medicare for? So, what kind of stem cells did you get?
I don't know, I just said it was stem cells.
Who said it was stem cells?
The doctor that did the injection.
Okay. I wasn't there. I have no idea how to answer that. All I can tell you is it's not covered. Yes.
I have a shoulder problem that acts up, gets really, really, really bad, but right now I'm feeling kind of good. It's kind of in remission, but I know it's coming back. Do you still recommend getting the injections now?
If you were a pilot, you're talking about your plane and say, I have a little bit of rust by the third engine, but right now it seems to be flying pretty good. What would you do? That's a good plan. Anybody else?
Is there ever a time you recommend surgery?
Yes. Remember I showed you when it's too bad? Yes. Sometimes we send people off for surgery. Let's hope it's not to that point. Anybody else? Okay, so by now you're all signed up? That's how it works. Now to answer your question, because I wasn't coming out of that mode. What was your question?
Mine?
Yes.
Oh, so it looked like you were giving the seminar, and then you said it's 5,000 for CC, and then you said, you know, for the first visit, if you want to come back, that's when we'll do your RLS.
To the exam.
To the exam, exactly. Do you give that $5,000 CC price, like, during your presentation? Because we do it on the second RLS.
Oh, we tell them, look, if you get 20 people in and 18 of them go, 5,000, that's ridiculous, and they leave, you just spent how many hours triaging people that you're not going to treat, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather, first of all, there's a couple things here. I'd rather flatten the button before they come in, and I'd rather let them think about it. That's why I threw out some examples about like the engine, the airplane engine. Like Mark and I didn't arrange that. That was just like a perfect segue though. But like the different things I talk about the price. You got them in front of you right now. It's a great time to talk about what's covered, what's not covered. Were you guys able to understand what I said about insurance?
Yeah.
So are most audiences. And they go, I never thought of that. But that's exactly how an insurance company works. They want the bill high because they get a higher percentage. Darren.
Just with a lot of our patients, there's a knee-jerk reaction when they hear the full amount. So, you know, I in our seminars when I give it, I say it's a monthly fee, and then when they come in, I go with the full price, which I get people challenging me. But once I tell them how much it is monthly, you know, and I let them know we're all on a budget. You know, we pay so much monthly. They're okay with that. You know, everyone's eyes opens up when I tell them it's $7,000. But when they get into the budget, I say, well, it's only about 212 months over 4 years. Like, oh, I can afford that. So my thinking
If
is,
that works for you, do that.